Good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm chatting with Alex Mišković from Terra Balcanica Resources. The purpose of this interview is that the company recently put out some pretty exciting drill holes, and I thought it'd be great to have Alex back on to discuss the results, which I believe the markets have overlooked these results because the market conditions for juniors have been, well, quite frankly, crap. That being said, the company posted a very interesting chart of comparables looking at the recent high-grade intercepts of companies that have similar types of deposits, all of them at different stages. So we have to use some analytical tools here to look at it. But I think it demonstrates the overall potential here that this company could have based on these recent results. Anyways, if you're looking for interesting assets where the baby may have been thrown out with the proverbial bathwater, I think that this name is one that you want to give a look. All right, everybody, enjoy the interview. Alex, thanks so much for joining us today.
Good morning, Steve. Thank you for having me.
So let's start off with what's happening in the world. Just a couple events off the top of my head. We've got the British pound got pounded this week, sort of recovered after the Bank of England stepped in with a bunch of bond purchases. And then we've also got the Nord Stream 1 and 2 explosions that are obviously going to affect energy prices across Western Europe, and it's all connected. So probably across the world. What's your view? Obviously, you're an exploration company, polymetallic, looking for all sorts of things. But what's your take on what's happening in the world right now?
Times are certainly interesting, and I'm an optimist always. The glass is half full in my eyes. I would like to put a positive spin on what is happening. Having said that, there's no denying that the stakes are being upped by both sides. Whoever is responsible for the explosion in the Nord Stream 1 and 2, assuming that's a sabotage, is obviously not doing favor to neither side. I would be hard pressed to believe that it would be Russians who did it, because ultimately that's their only source of cash flow at this point. Having said that, you can argue that this is another way for Russia to destabilize Europe and put additional pressure on Western economies. One thing that, from my standpoint as a CEO of an exploration company in Europe, is it's not good. We have seen on our balance sheets that the price of consumables are going up ever since the crisis started. Not just in Serbia and Bosnia. I think that's the case for the entire world, and Europe especially. Price of diesel has gone up, so obviously the cost of exploration has gone up. What I've learned over the course of the existence of Terra Balcanica is that you can only control things that you really can control. In this case, trying to keep the cash burn rate at the lowest possible level, maintain the operations. But at the same time, there's no denying that from our standpoint, from the standpoint of Terra Balcanica, we have conducted those 2,000 meters of drilling program right now, and we are keen and eager to show this and highlight to the world. I know that the timing right now, considering the macroeconomic instability, is not great. But I think, again, we cannot control those things. We can only hope that tide's going to turn, and I believe it will. This cannot go on forever. Whether that's going to be end of Q4 or Q1 of next year, I'm hoping that calmer heads will prevail for the sake of Europe, for the sake of Russia as well, for the common joint future together, because this is not doing favors to anybody. I think Russia is suffering, obviously, West is suffering. I think in terms of energy crisis that people are professing Europe is going to be in, I think that's not going to happen. The prices will go higher, there will be pain, but I don't think that European energy stability is endangered in any sort of a significant way. I think Germany and France will pull out, and every other country with them. France is obviously relying on its nuclear power as the primary source. Germany is more exposed, but I think that if German Chancellor Scholz is to be believed, that they have put some contingency plans in action and will protect themselves from any sort of great exposure. Again, ours is to stay the course, highlight the fact that, on the other hand, this entire macroeconomic instability is an opportunity for us, because obviously the world is moving towards those critical metals that will provide security for energy: copper, lithium, zinc, lead. Of course, we also have silver and and gold in our inventory in terms of what is it that we explore. But I think being a polymetallic explorer in a jurisdiction that's both established and European, like we are, might, once everything is through, pay dividends to us and actually be potentially beneficial in the end.
Okay, so let's talk about Terra Balcanica. Recent drill results were pretty strong. Before we get into the drill results, if you could just quickly walk us through where the company is exploring and the thesis again for anybody who is new to the story.
Absolutely. It'd be my pleasure to. So we are operating in two neighboring jurisdictions in southeastern Europe. One is called Serbia, the other one is Bosnia. Our flagship property that encompasses 215 square kilometers of land tenure is found in this square right here, very close to, straddles almost the border between the two countries. Right in the middle of our land tenure is an existing mine called Sase Mine. It produces around 350,000 tons of lead, zinc, silver concentrate per year, operated by a British company called Mineco Group Ltd. Mineco also owns another mine in Bosnia and three more in Serbia. So they are a significant player when it comes to operating mines in the region. We have staked our licenses, in a sense, surrounding their existing mine, in the hope of looking at the magmatic volcanoplutonic complex that is ultimately being explored or exploited with a different set of eyes. What does that mean? Well, we wanted to see, for example, specifically whether Srebrenica magmatic complex, which is what we're looking at right now, a place where one would expect the porphyry copper mineralization. This complex is a part of the Oligomycete belt that's about 30 million years old and runs through the entire Balkans from Bosnia to Greece. And in many other places throughout Greece, Macedonia, and Serbia, complexes of this size do contain porphyry copper deposits. The question that we ask is why don't we see that in Srebrenica? Is it hidden underneath? Has it been explored before, et cetera, et cetera? That's exactly what we set out to do about 18 months ago. And in the process of meticulously mapping, surveying both geochemically and geophysically this region, we came up with 3 targets. In the upper left corner, Cumavici; in the center, Olovine; and then towards the southeast, Brezheni. They're all 3 different styles of mineralization, one being a classic porphyry copper, Brezheni being more of a gold skarn plus copper underneath, and then Cumavici in the upper left corner being sort of an extension of what is it mined in Sase already. And that's a high-grade, shallow, polymetallic vein-hosted deposits or resources. So if you want one hashtag or a tagline for this project, it would be one project / one property, 3 styles of mineralization, 7 different metals.
Okay, so let's talk about the recent drill results you guys announced. Can you walk us through the results?
So this press release, the snapshot of which I'm showing you right now, is from 3.5 weeks ago. So this is our maiden drill hole in the Cumavici, in that polymetallic vein-hosted deposit in the northwestern segment of our license package. A couple of things are obvious. We are only 29 meters in the subsurface, so it's very shallow. The intercept is significant in terms of its grade. I like the fact that it seems to be a stacked system. So slightly underneath the principal vein, we have also encountered another zone of disseminated mineralization. In this case, slightly lower grade, but nonetheless, this stacked system is something that we're going to be exploring both into the screen and out of the screen. In other words, along strike and down dip. In my mind, our hypothesis is proved. We have intercepted exactly what we were looking for, and now it's just a matter of defining its geometry and extent.
Were these naked holes, or was there drilling in the area before?
So Yugoslavs during the 70s and 80s have conducted a limited amount of drilling in the area using man-portable rigs. They were always vertical, never inclined, And they would only drill for about 50 or 60 or 70 meters. There was
Okay.
never any systematic plan to it. It was kind of scout drilling. And we don't have any historical core from them that we could rely on. However, they did speak of mineralization in their reports, which we had access through the archival material. So indication was there. However, that we didn't want to rely only on that. We've conducted, as I mentioned, detailed mapping, both on surface. Some of these veins outcrop, they daylight. We can see them. You can put your boot on it and see where it comes out. Of course, the question is how far do they go, both along strike and down dip. And this is where our primary focus and goal and target of the drilling in Cumavici was. Once we prove the thesis with initial 2 or 3 holes, let's step out. And that's exactly what the press release issued last week was all about.
Okay, so where else are you guys exploring right now? Is there just drills in this area, or which other areas are you guys drilling?
Right. So just to follow up on the last thought, so this is that press release from last week, where we have announced a step out of 80 meters down dip of the same system, showing that the system is at least in the micro sense extensive. It continues, and we will continue and have continued to step out both down dip and along strike. One thing to keep in mind is Cumavici is a corridor that, geophysically speaking, is 7.2 kilometers long. In other words, the zone of prospective geophysics that indicates and is correlated to the mineralization is 7 kilometers long. And we have intercepted mineralization on 2 different locations in this system, one called Cumavici Ridge, which is this one that you're looking at right now, and the other one called Yosheva. They're 3.5 kilometers apart. And in both of those, we've tested system and come up with positive holes. I'm not suggesting that system is continuous over the course of 3.5 kilometers. It might be, but that's exactly what the company will be exploring. And that's sort of what the focus was in Cumavici. Test the thesis, confirm the presence of high-grade polymetallic shallow mineralization, see how far does that or those sheets of shallow veining extend in the shallow subsurface along the northwest-southeast corridor, and then, of course, go and test these other 2 targets, such as Brezheny and Olovine. And that's sort of what the first pass drilling in Viogor-Zanik was all about. We have gone through about 60% of the initial 3,500 meter drill program and confirmed our hypotheses or theses on all 3 locations. In other words, we do see porphyry mineralization in Olovine, we do see gold skarn and porphyry mineralization in Brezheny, and of course we do see polymetallic vein-hosted material or sulfides in Cumavici.
Okay, last question for you here. For investors watching this, what sort of milestones, news, what's the plan going into the remainder of the year?
So having completed about 2,000 meters of that initial drill program, most of the analyses are either being obtained or will be obtained in the next lab analyses, the assays, in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We plan to release everything, and we think we're going to be very proud of what we have to release over the course of the next 45 to 60 days in a gradual, staged manner. So there's going to be a continuous set of press releases coming out that hopefully will be the galvanizers for the share price and for the overall valuation of the company. Based upon the success of that, we do plan to, at some point, prepare for the next year, which I think is going to be the inflection point of the development of the company, where we do really want to expand the drilling program by an order of magnitude. So instead of drilling 2,000 meters, we want to go up to 10 in Viogor-Zanik and really try to test these theses in terms of their lateral extent properly, as well as how deep they go, and make Viogor-Zanik into a really brand new district that I think it is already, it just hasn't been recognized yet.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, Alex, and please keep coming on here to update us. When we saw these holes, I thought that they were great holes. I know that the stock hasn't necessarily responded as much as what you would normally expect, but the 10-year U.S. Treasury working its way to 4%. Obviously, there's just to use that as a benchmark, tells us exactly the state of the mind of the risk investor right now. But I think, what do I know? I'm not a geo. It looks like you got something promising here. So
I, as a 20 years of geological experience, I'm pretty excited about what we have come up with over the course of only 2,000 meters as a promise for what comes in the future. Yes, I mean, to your point, the pain is shared equally by everybody. And again, you can control what you can control, hoping that the tide will turn soon, and that not just us, but similar companies that have promising results and are hugely discounted at this point come to a fair valuation that I think we all deserve.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us, Alex.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. And if you do me a big favor, hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. It would be greatly appreciated. All right. Thank you, everybody.